everyone, it's Ed from Runnable. This is a really quick review today of the Puma MagMax Nitro. It's a shoe I haven't used that much, but I've now got some quite strong opinions on this shoe that I want to share with you. So if you guys have got any opinions on this shoe as well, please put them in the comments. But just very quickly, for those that don't know much about this shoe, my UK size 9, it's around 320 grams, so it's quite a heavy shoe. If you compare that with the Balos, around 270, the Nova Blast, which I've worn recently, around 260, and the Super Blast at 250, you'll see that this is quite a heavy shoe compared to those. It's got a massive stack of 47 millimeters in the heel, 39 in the forefoot, giving that 8 millimeter drop. So it's one of the biggest, highest stacked shoes that I own. It's got nice kind of upper woven mesh. I have some issues with this upper, but let's go through some of the things I like. So I like the material. I like the tongue, it's gusseted. I like the laces. You've got this nice little tab here so you can cinch the laces and try and get a good lockdown in the shoe. It's got nice padding around the collar. Some of the things I don't like, very low volume, like the Balos. My toes feel like they're getting crushed a lot in this shoe. The heel count is very rigid, and the angle it kind of comes in at rubs my heel. I've had to use a runner's knot to make sure I can reduce the amount of heel slippage I'm getting, because that's causing more rubbing on the heel. So that's a major problem for me with this shoe, the heel rubbing. And I don't get that often with other shoes. So it's definitely something to do with the angle of this heel and how rigid it is. It's very rigid. I can barely push it in. So yeah, this shoe in general, upper doesn't work for me. It's nice, plush, lovely upper. But in general, if I'm getting heel problems and not the best lockdown, I'm having to use a runner's knot, then, that's a problem for me. Outsole's great, good Puma grip, have no problems here. Wide base to land on. It's kind of a stable shoe because you've got nice big sidewalls here, so it keeps your foot locked in. You've got nice sole flare, particularly as you can see on the medial side, which comes out a lot. So it's a very stable neutral shoe. So those with stability needs, they might look at this and think, yeah, it's a good shoe. The foam, the midsole, another area of contention for me. So you would think with this massive stack of foam and this Nitro infused foam, which, top of the range foam from Puma, that I would love the kind of ride in this shoe. And the problem is I don't. Up to now, I find it very difficult to like because at slower paces it feels very firm and harsh, and a bit like Super Blast early days before it broke in. The big difference is Super Blast is a lot lighter at 250 grams, as opposed to this at almost 100 grams more. So if I compare the two, although the ride initially felt the same, Super Blast over time has felt a lot better. So maybe this will. So I will take this on a 20 miler and see if I can break this foam in a bit. But for now, I've got a major problem with how this feels when I run in it. Particularly slow, but when I pick up the tempo, it feels a bit better. But there again, it feels clunky. It feels like a big tank on my shoe. A lot more than, say, the Nova Blast or the Super Blast or the Balos. It just feels like a big tank of a shoe that's, like I said, clunky and not very nimble. And so when I pick up the pace, it doesn't feel that good on my foot. So again, I think that's the weight comes into it a little bit there. I'm not preoccupied with weight like some people, but if a shoe weighs a lot, then it has to give me something back, good energy return. Like the Skyward X, right? Like the Prime X. This doesn't give me much energy return. It just feels flat, slappy, hollow, all those things. I did say this was going to be a quick review. So for me, jury is definitely out on this shoe. I'm not sure about where the hype comes from this shoe, what it's good at. It's not that good for me at slower runs. There are better options like the More V5, like the Balos, like the Nova Blast. And when I want to pick up the pace, I'd much rather stick the Mach X2 or the Super Blast on my feet than this shoe. So I just don't understand it. Maybe, you know, if you've got stability needs, this might be a good shoe, but then you've got the Hurricane 24 or the Morphe 5, which I think is just as stable, both stable neutral shoes like this, and better rides. So unfortunately for me, the Puma MagMax Nitro at the moment is definitely a thumbs down. I don't see the point of this shoe where you've got all those other options, but please let me know your thoughts in the comments. And yeah, we'll and the price of this isn't too bad. It's 170, but like I said, if I can't see the point of it, that's 170 down the drain, right? When you could be buying those other shoes. Like, compare it with an Overblast at 135. There is only one winner there, right? So I would say, so far, I would say do not buy this shoe. I don't see the point of it. But those that like it, please let me know why in the comments, and please let me know if I should persevere with this shoe or not. That's all I want to say today. Thanks for listening. It's been a quick one. There's some run footage that I'd like you to watch after this, if you don't mind, but up to you, really. You'll just hear me running around. I think I didn't have my water bottle today, so there's less sloshing about. Anyway, that's for you, Fiddler. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, so I'm going to do a short run to gym and back in my Puma MagMax Nitros. So these are a shoe that I probably run in least of all the running shoes that I own, purely because the first time I ran in them, they gave me really bad heel. This run might be a bit too short to experience that, but we'll see. But effectively, this is another option for a slow run shoe, and I'm just testing it out. I thought it would be a good time to running it, because I've only just run in the Balos, New Balance Fresh Foam X Balos, and I can compare the two as I run. So straight away, there's a massive difference in terms of how firm this shoe feels, the MagMax, as opposed to the Balos. This gives me real kind of Super Blast vibes. This shoe, in there it feels quite dense, this foam, and it feels kind of that it's got that hollowy feel that you get with the Super Blast. I know that kind of almost sounds contradictory, dense and hollow, but what I mean by that is it feels like it's a kind of hard, slappy substance, but there's not a lot of give in. It's not like my foot kind of sinks in at all with this foam. It's not what I would class as soft. Maybe it breaks down after so many miles. There is a bit of a bounce, like with the Super Blast, so you can pick up the pace a bit in the shoe, but it's not one which I would say is the most comfortable of shoes. You know, it's definitely, with my legs being a bit sore today, it's definitely one of those shoes that I kind of notice how firm it is, especially compared to the Balos that I ran in earlier. And I think the hollowy kind of feel comes a little bit from how it feels to land in this shoe. You get that echoey sound when you land, sort of pitter-pattery, echoey kind of sound, which makes me feel like the foam is just bouncing off the surface and there's no give, no real give.
I suspect this foam will break down after so many miles. But question I guess is this shoe good enough for me to persevere with, like it was with the Super Blast? You know, I persevered with that shoe, and it took me a good 50 miles for that shoe to break in. Yeah, a good 50 miles. And that's a long time, right? But once it did, it was an amazing shoe. And now I'm starting to get the heel rub that I had before on my right heel. I'm just going to stop a minute. I'm going to lace lock these and see if it goes away. I'll see you in a minute. Bye. Okay, so I'm back running. Done the runner's knot, lace lock them, and let's see if it does any. Looks like they're coming to get me. That's it. Fire engine. Hopefully not my house. Did I leave the oven on? Don't think so. That would mean I have to cook. But anyway. Feels a little bit better with the lace lock. Not entirely sure it's fixed it though. But anyway, going back to the shoe, it's firmer. I think when you pick up the pace a little bit, it feels better. So maybe it's not the best, but really slow running encourages you to pick up the pace a little bit. So yeah, jury's out on this shoe. I really do need to take it for a longer run, see what it's like. But for now, every step counts. So just finished at the gym. Been having a session on stretching my legs and back, which are quite stiff on the 10k that I did. It's always good to try and get some stretching in. Try and do it every day if you can. I know that's lots of people don't do that, but I think it's so important. You know, make sure that your legs are not tight when you do any kind of running, because that's when you'll get injury, particularly if they're tight and then you try and do some strides, or you try and go quickly and then pang, you get muscle pulls or even worse, tears. So you've got to try and look after yourself, and also, you know, wear the right footwear. And going back to the Puma MagMax, for me, I mean, I will take this on one more long run just to see, but for me these are not the right footwear. So what do I mean by that? Well, so I'm not finding these that comfortable to run in. I get heel rub. I also find them very hollow and slappy and quite firm. And for a shoe that I bought really with slow running in mind, that's not a good thing. When I'm going a bit quicker in this shoe, they do feel a bit better and I get a bit more bounce. So potentially they could be used a bit more at tempo pace, but I've got far lighter, more responsive, bouncy shoes that I prefer to do that kind of running, to be honest, like the Puma MagMax 2. It's a far better shoe than this one for doing that run. So for me, the real question mark of where this fits in, but I kind of owe it to the shoe to give it one last try over a longer distance, because it might feel better that longer distance. So I bought this at a similar time that I bought the Skyflow, Hoka Skyflame, and I actually prefer that shoe to this one. I don't see how this compares to the Nova Blast or even the Balos that we talked about earlier. So for me, jury is definitely out on this shoe, but the jury is not out on me getting a coffee from this lovely bakery, which I'm about to do now. So that's all for me for now. I'll see you later. Bye bye.